Hey, and welcome back to the next episode of Right Hand Drive Guys. I'm Bobby. This is Aaron.
Yo.
And today is actually episode 29.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about the Project S14 that we picked up like a month ago, I would say. It's probably been a month now.
Yeah, about a month.
And so this is our first episode recording in the garage. We had been doing it in one of the offices, but we really wanted to be able to do this and have it on the internet as well as far as YouTube.
Right. And also have the whole vibe of the garage.
Yeah.
In the background as we're talking.
Yeah, because we worked hard on the garage, so, we might as well be proud of it. And
also worked hard on these seats.
Yeah. Late last night, we were putting together these seats. This is actually the seat from the S14 that we're going to be talking about. And where'd yours come from?
Mine came from my R32, and it's
Yeah. So we repurposed them. Yeah. And we kind of set up a little area for ourselves out here. But back to the topic at hand, the S14, the Silvia. So these cars were kind of pretty much what you were into, like on the come up, right? Like
100%.
Yeah.
S chassis was my thing. Like, couldn't get enough of them.
Yeah. I personally, I definitely knew of them. My childhood best friend was always into Silvias. That's
Right.
what he was always talking about. So I knew of them, but I was more of a Skyline guy. So,
Yeah.
It's cool to start seeing the differences and the similarities between the two vehicles.
Right. Yeah, I mean, they share a lot of parts.
Yeah, you wouldn't think it. But then there's also stuff that's completely different.
Yeah.
You're like, why'd they do it this way? And I'm
Right.
sure they had a reason. But,
Yeah, 100%.
So there's a little story behind this S14. I really wasn't in the market to get it, right? And then Aaron hits me up, and what does Aaron say?
Yeah, well, this is like right after Import Alliance, right?
Yeah.
Or this is the day you were leaving to come back home.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I had sent you a car. It was on eBay, and it was this S14. I'm like, dude, wow, look at this price. And a buddy had sent it to me originally and was saying, yo, check this out. Like, I didn't know that he was in the market to buy that car.
So wait, so you hijacked his...
Yeah, I did, and I apologize for it like 1,000 times. But regardless, I sent it to you.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, wow, that's cool. 2 seconds later, I placed a bid on it.
So, yeah, I mean, this car, like, we don't need to let out their specific amounts, but let's just say that this car, the current bid, when you sent it to me, this car was extremely well priced.
Yes.
Like you're like, whoa, dude, is this a scam?
Yeah. I had said to you, it's like, dude, if this sells actually for this price, it's a steal.
Right.
Like 100%.
And so yeah, like, I was messing around. I threw the bid in there because I'm like, there's no way I'm going to win this car for this price,
Yeah. I said the same thing.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, there's no way.
Yeah. I just kind of did it to like mess with this guy. But, in the end, nobody bid. I only placed, so, whatever, this car's at X amount. I only placed an $800 span, right?
Yeah.
Like I was like, if somebody outbids me, that'd be pretty easy.
Right. Someone definitely will, right?
And so, like, I'm getting the notifications that there's only an hour left.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the heck, dude? I'm like, still the high bidder.
Dude.
We're going back and forth like, dude, this is crazy. This can't be
It's
true.
and then it's like 5 minutes left, and I'm on eBay, like, refreshing it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm watching it, dude, because I'm like, there ain't no way he's about to win this car for this price.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way. Someone's going to bid. Someone has to bid.
Yeah, nobody bid. I
no
won
one
it.
bid, dude.
And you best believe immediately I'm like, yo, you want to deposit, like, because you don't sell something. You sell something on eBay and you don't get the price you want for it. A lot of times you can cancel it. You obviously don't have to sell this person this car.
Right.
You can just relist it, whatever. So I hit him up and I'm like, nope, dude, I'm buying it. I'll come down next weekend. The car is located in right across the Connecticut border in New York.
Yeah.
So I was already headed about an hour away to Connecticut that weekend anyway. So I'm like, hey, dude,
wow,
you need a deposit. Like, what's the deal? And so, yeah, like it's good. But then there's I got to wait literally that whole week wondering, like, is he going to hit me back and have that seller's remorse type thing?
Right.
This is too good to be true. There's no way.
Right.
Because
100%, dude.
Wait until we list off what's on this car.
Yeah. This isn't a stock beater, like rusted out
Auto, like
S14.
nothing.
No, dude. It's legit.
Legit.
Like,
yeah.
And it blew my mind when I came to the garage and saw it. I was just like, what the
fuck?
What the hell is going on? Like,
it was exciting. So
yeah, to say the least.
I like brought my trailer down to Connecticut. Went down and went to New York. Met the guy's cousin because a little backstory is this guy was in the military, stationed in Japan. Yeah. He buys this car in Japan. He daily drives it in Japan. That's like his car in Japan. So while he's doing that, he's also over there in the military. So he's getting paid, and he doesn't really have anything to spend it on, right? Because he's kind of he's a little younger than we originally thought he was. He's like 27 or whatever. So he's spending his money on the car, and he's doing all these mods that we're going to talk about with all of his military income.
Yeah.
And so it seems like he got back to the U.S. and this car kind of fell to the wayside because real life comes back into play, and all that. And so he moved to Colorado and left the car in New York with his cousin to sell. And so I meet his cousin, and, everything goes good. And I check out the car, and I'm just like, holy moly, like, I really don't even see anything wrong with this thing. Like, why am I getting it for this price? I felt like I was doing something wrong. Yeah. And so then to top it all off and sweeten the deal, they're like, hey, you want a S15, SR20 and then S14 tranny? Right. Give it to you for this extremely cheap price just to get it out of my hair.
And it's like, what?
I know.
Another one? Like, what?
Yeah, I know. I'm feeling like I won the mega bucks or something, dude. Yeah, I'm like, okay, like, yes, I want that. Please put it on my trailer. And so I walk away with all of this for an insanely low price. Right. And get it on the trailer. Right. Bring it back home. And so, and everything went great minus, So, we're at the point where now we have it in the garage, right? Yeah. And we kind of have to look it over and decide, what are we going to do? Right. What are we going to keep? What are we going to get rid of? Yeah. And, we'll put in some pictures. If you watch this episode over on YouTube, we'll put in some pictures so you can just kind of see the car as we picked it up and what shape it was in, which was good shape. Yeah. Just a few, little things like the wheels were just
mismatched.
Yeah. And, like some just stickers probably where you wouldn't normally put them. And, just some little stuff like that. But overall, the dude had decent taste. Yeah. And he put in some work. So what we're going to do is just kind of go through what the car has and then what we're going to do to it. So we're going to start off with the engine, right? That's what we decided.
The SR20.
Yeah. So, of course, it came with an SR20, which was great, right? And it came with it's a brand new crate transmission.
Yeah. Which whenever I was under the car, I was checking it out, and there was like a serial number that looked like it was brand new, and I'm like, I've never seen that on an old SR transmission. Like, what's the deal with that? Sure enough, you go through the list, brand new crate transmission. Yeah. I'm like, what?
So mind you, though, right, because I'm such a ding-dong, I did not even look at the ad.
Yeah, this is how not serious you were about buying this car.
I didn't even look at the ad. I had no clue what was even on the car. I just went there. I'm like, wow, that's a really nice S14. Yeah. I'll throw the bid on it. Like we said, just messing around, just to kind of like poke him like, oh, I bid on it. And so after the fact, I'm looking at the list and I'm like, what the heck?
Right.
Like
400 horsepower SR.
Yeah, 400.
Legit.
Yeah, and so 90% of this work when it comes to the engine was done in Japan.
Right,
All
where it
of
should
this-
be done.
Yeah, and so it was STR.
Yeah,
Was it?
I think so, something like that.
Yeah, so it's a pretty well-known tuning shop in Japan, and so he had all this done while he was over there, which is great because then, and it's not that everything in Japan is like top-notch,
Right.
but a lot of it.
But when
is
it comes to
done well.
SRs
Yeah.
and RBs,
That's their stuff.
that's usually their thing.
Yeah. So just running down real quick, this thing has RSC head gasket and cams, Nismo injectors,
Yeah.
HPI oil cooler and the filter relocation,
Yeah.
HPI radiator, Greddy intercooler, HPI exhaust manifold, upgraded Garrett 2876,
Yeah.
Link ECU.
Yeah, full standalone. Like, dude.
Like it's like yes, and like these parts add up to what I paid for the car.
Right.
Air motor fuel pump, split fire coil packs, Cusco catch can, Nismo engine mounts, Greddy air filters, Chase Bays bits.
Right.
I could keep
New
going.
power steering pump, new rack. Like,
It's like
dude.
everything's like he went through it, and that it's got a Nismo twin plate clutch. It's got Nismo tranny mounts, so these things are like, okay, yeah, I would have done some of those things anyways.
Yeah.
But they're already done, and like they seem to have been done right.
Yeah, 100%, dude. I mean, it's legit.
Yeah, it's got the Kaz rear diff,
Right.
which like this is my first like rear diff rear wheel drive car like that.
Yeah, it's got a heavy two-way in it. If you've driven a Kaz before, like you know that they are noisy and it sounds like something might be breaking whenever you're doing some tight turns or something. But yeah, it's all good and it's all legit. It has brand new GTR axles, so that's been upgraded.
Right, to the thick boys.
Yeah, I mean everything as far as the drivetrain and engine, like, has been gone through and is legit.
Yeah, and so that was like, and so it starts right up, and you let it warm up, and she's like ready to rip, and it's got that like, because it does have the Tomei titanium, the Extreme or whatever, and so with that you definitely hear the you hear the motor. It's straight. There's no cat, so it's just like raw.
Yeah,
very raw.
It sounds like an SR.
Yeah,
100%.
so
all day.
was definitely like, as far as the engine and everything, was definitely like happy, right? Like I expected maybe a hiccup in the tune or like this or that, but besides those tight turn, low speed kind of, I don't know, that rear diff thing's weird, but otherwise I was just like, wow, this is like amazing. Yeah,
I was too. I mean, you can't go wrong with that setup. Like that setup that the guy has is tried and true.
Yeah,
1,000 times over in Japan. Like,
right. Yeah, exactly. So it's reliable. People know. The people who put that together, they know.
For sure.
So moving on to the exterior, I feel like the exterior was kind of just as much of a surprise in the sense of quality.
Yeah. For sure, because. Well, one has wide body, right?
Right, it's a wide body.
I am always skeptical of wide body cars, especially coming from Japan, because what is
something.
that? What is that covering up? And if it's not, how did they put the rear wide body on these cars? Because you do have to do a bit of cutting, a bit of welding to do it 100% correct.
Right.
But just like everything else, it's quality.
Yeah, it really is. It's a charge speed rear over fender and front fender kit.
Yeah.
So the front and rear bumpers are not wide body kit bumpers, but everything on the sides of the car is.
Yeah. And another fact to add to the rear, everything was riv nutted rather than just pop riveted in.
Right.
So if you want to take it off to clean up underneath or whatever it might be, you can easily pop that panel off and put it back on without drilling out rivets and...
Yeah, which is sweet.
A pain, right?
And it looks better than if it was just riveted.
Right. It looks a little bit better. It just looks a little more finished. So, and as far as the rest of the car, dude, I mean, it was legit. It has a kooky front end.
Right.
OEM.
It's converted to the kooky.
Yeah. So that's legit. The headlights are clean. They're not busted or nothing. Like,
Yeah, no, they're
and it's
mint.
complete. You know, the front bumper is mint.
Yeah.
Had the, what was it, Silk Road front lip on it.
Yeah, Silk Road front diffuser kit. And
It was like a 3-piece. I mean, it was cool looking, but
it was beat up.
yeah.
Like, so then it also had the carbon fiber hood, which had a little bit of fading, and he had a bunch of stickers on it. So, you know, when it comes to that, so real quick, let's back up because we skipped the what the plans are for like the motor and engine for the future, which is just some cleanup. Pretty much everything with motor and engine.
Engine's mint.
Yeah, not gonna mess with
not
that
even,
at all.
Yeah.
And so for the exterior, like that carbon fiber hood, we're paint matching it because it will just look cleaner. And then we swapped out that Silk Road front diffuser for a Gretty front lip.
Right, which
Yeah.
looks way better. I think those look so awesome. Like if you're looking for that like OEM plus look,
Yeah.
the Gretty's definitely the way to go.
Yeah, so we're going to have that, of course, painted to match, and picked up a Origin Labs rear window spoiler.
Yeah.
So some just little, because the paint on the wide body is mint. Like everything's like
the
mint.
paint on the car completely is mint.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like it already has everything. Like
Pretty
it has the kooky side skirts, it has the rear spats, the kooky rear bumper, has the kooky wing. Like it is a 94, but outside wise, everything has been converted.
It's like a 98.
Yeah. It's like So it's mint. Like
we don't want to
awesome.
mess with that.
Right. I mean, we'll add a few little things, change the front lip out, get some things resprayed and cleaned up, and dude, it's gonna be so sick.
Yeah, and so when it came to us, the wheels that it had on it, front and rear were both works.
Yeah, the fronts were like XT7s, and then I think the rears were the
Emotions or something.
The Emotion. They're like the Tim Spoke. I forget the name right now.
Yeah, but they were mismatched.
Yeah,
and I don't know if that's because he couldn't find the right offsets to match that wide body. I'm not sure what.
Well, the spec on them is they're wide. There's just weak offset spec.
Yeah.
So I mean, guy probably didn't know much about fitment.
Yeah. And just found two different sets of wheels. Yeah. I don't know. That's weird. So it took, I personally never had a wide body car, and so I'm not super familiar with it. So I took Aaron's advice as far as like kind of what to be looking for.
Yeah.
Because if you got a wide body on a car, the wheels need to kind of match that.
Yeah, or else why did you have wide body?
Right, because it just looks stupid. It looks
right. You got to have the wheels to fill that out, and it's got to fit. Or else why?
Right, yeah, and it's just not going to complete the look of the car, and you got a great deal on it, but you didn't do it any justice. So,
right.
I looked and we went through multiple sets of, is this going to work? Is it going to look good? Is it even the style? And so ended up settling on a pair of works, which was kind of ironic, but they're a set of Meister L1s. And they are 18 by 9.5 in the front, 18 by 10 in the rear, with a +8 offset in the front and +1 in the rear.
Right.
So we're hoping this really gives us that kind of more of an aggressive look that we're looking for while filling in those fender wells and really giving the car the look that it needs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that spec should be spot on. You might need to run like a 3 mil spacer in the front to clear the coils. But
right. Yeah. So,
other
but
than
minor.
that, it's mint.
Yeah. Not sure what I'm going to run for tires yet. I figured I'd just get the wheels and
we can kind of go from there.
What it'll be. And so, with the exterior, that kind of completes what the plans are. Again, just some subtle items. And if you're watching the YouTube, the car, you can't really see it. You can see the bottom of the intercooler, I think, in the frame, but it's up on the lift above the FL5 behind us. Yeah. And so the interior on the car, the interior was set, it's the interior. There's only so much that you could do anyways without going like overly crazy. It's got that cage in it for sure, which I think is a 7-point.
Yeah, safety 21.
Yeah, safety 21, 7-point roll cage. And I know we upgraded the JBL speakers and, a different head unit and all of that type of stuff.
The interior to me, it was like pretty much the run-of-the-mill Japanese drift streetcar interior. It has mismatched seats, it has a fixed bucket for the driver's side, reclinable on the passenger, bolt-in cage, full interior still. They cut all the holes.
Yeah, that was
nice.
really nice. Yeah. I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, so that's like pretty mint if you ask me. And you were like, what do we do here? Like, do we remove the rear seats? I'm like, no, keep the interior full, like, because that's sick. Like, especially when it's done that way, when everything fits perfectly and it's caged
and stuff. Yeah,
right. It's like kind of brings it all together.
Yeah, and so it was kind of hard to kind of figure out where to go. So the route I took was kind of maybe refinishing anything that wasn't great. Like, for example, the little center console top was broken, got the new OEM one of those.
Right.
Got to get the shifter bezel back to where it needs to be. Just that little stuff to keep the car clean. But the dash is like mint. You know, like I was really surprised because it came with a cover on it, and I'm like,
right. Which is like, well, what's that covering up,
yeah.
right?
No, it was actually just protecting it like it was meant to.
Yeah, it's so clean.
Yeah.
It had universal WeatherTech floor mats.
Yeah, the cutouts.
On top of super mint
Silvia.
OEM mats.
Yeah, like when he says
like,
super
what?
mint, there's like not even marks on them. Like it, I'm like, dang, and so I'm not a fan of the fixed bucket. It was a little beat up anyways. The other seat that was in there is SR3, right?
Yep,
and
SR3
confetti. So I bought the matching SR3 confetti for the driver's side so that it just kind of, went in and, we're throwing in a Nismo steering wheel.
Got to get rid of that Momo.
Yeah, there's a Momo in there, which comes on 90% of Japanese cars. It's
I know,
crazy.
dude.
I don't even get it.
My R32 came with a Momo.
So did my 33.
It did.
Yes. I don't get it.
What is the deal? They're like, oh, we're selling this car. Throw a Momo in it. Get it out of here.
That'll get the Americans to buy it for sure.
Dude, that Momo goes right in the trash.
And so, like with the interior again, it's really pretty much there. There wasn't.
Yeah. It just needs finishing touches. That's all.
So, which is great. That means we don't got to put a bunch into it, right?
Right.
And so the suspension on the car, I think that this guy really took some pride in his suspension because he really did all of it.
Yeah, he
at
did.
one point or another. And some of these things were a little, not to say used and abused, but definitely got some miles on him. Like he was driving it daily.
Right.
So it came with the RSR coilovers, which generally are a quality coilover, but
these were probably 20 years old.
Yeah, I would assume he put them through the ringer.
Yeah, these things they've had their use. I imagine he bought these used at Up Garage, if I had to assume.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that.
These were $100 coilovers from Up Garage, if I had to guess. But
so we swapped them out with some KTS coilovers from Japan, and got that right. And then he had a whole list of things on here that he did with the suspension, like wheel bearings with GK Tech knuckles in the front, new sway bar end links, new tie rods, inners and outers. He did a lot of these things. He did the CTSV brake swap on the front end, and then threw the Z32s on the rear. He had the rear subframe reinforced with the GK Tech reinforcements and then re-powder coated, so that's all like brand new looking. He's got the IKEA formula rear control arms. He's got the what was that, the Voodoo what What are those?
Those are the rear arms, the
rear
tow
arms.
rods and traction rods. I
Yes,
believe.
you're right. Yeah. So, he's got a lot of stuff on here.
Yeah, and he's also got Powered by Max rear knuckles as well.
Yeah. So, he really did put some work into it, and they were like quality parts. It wasn't like, no name stuff.
Yeah, for the most part, it's pretty decent.
So, and we're adding in a few pieces, some Nismo bits, that rear, the bottom end.
Yep, lower control arm.
The lower control arms, and some other little pieces just to kind of spruce it up.
Right.
And we're gonna clean up everything else there.
Yeah, pretty much touching on things that he didn't.
Yeah, and it'll be pretty much a full and complete car at that point with nothing left out.
Right.
And maybe our version, with the budget that we have, but still, a nice car.
Right. 100%. I mean, it was a nice car before, but like now it's just going to be that much nicer.
Yeah.
And that much complete and that much more just legit.
Right. Yeah. And maybe instead of a base level enthusiast version of complete, maybe more of a moderate level enthusiast version of complete, So, we're going to go ahead and repaint the calipers and get those all fresh and nice and,
right, because no one needs a CTSV logo on their Nissan.
Yeah, I hate that so bad, so bad. So, these are the little things that we're going to go ahead and do just to kind of, again, get the car fully complete.
Right.
I'm excited to see it at the end, all white without that carbon fiber hood and, all that type of stuff. I think it'll be very clean.
Yeah, I'm excited to get the wheels on it, get it fitted right. Get it just sitting perfect.
Man, yeah. And so where there isn't, a ton of money tied up in this, it's like, what do we do from here? Because my personal collection, so to speak, like an S14, of course, would be cool.
Right.
But also, it's not what I need. That wasn't my original goal. I'd like to have all 3 GTRs. I don't really need an S14, although it would be great for that one rear-wheel drive car.
Right, for hitting drift events or whatever it might be.
Yeah, just whatever. You want the rear-wheel drive car that day, I guess. But again, like, excess is, like, hard because this garage is sweet, but, like, we only got so much room. We're doing our podcast from underneath a 4-post lift with a GTR on top of us.
Yeah.
So, like, we're kind of a little strapped for space, and we got an R34 coming in a few weeks.
Yeah.
So, what are we going to do with the S14? I don't know. When you start to weigh that out, it's like, sure, you could just, you could flip it for a profit, right? That would be insanely easy.
Right.
To just flip it for a large profit and like just keep it moving, right?
Right.
That's probably what a lot of people would do. And not saying that that's off the table because, hey, you find the deal, you deserve the profit, right? That's like what's so great about being in America.
Yeah.
But we're also really trying to work on this podcast. We're really trying to, even though this is for fun and it's nothing that like we're stressing about, we would like to continue to develop it, right? That's like part of anything. That's why we're even have the camera in front of us now, is just to continue to develop it. So, we're sitting there and we're like, well, dude, everybody else does raffle cars. And as cliche or whatever as that is, like maybe we got this deal for a reason to be able to do something like this and create a raffle. And so I don't know what everybody else thinks about that. I don't know if people would actually buy the tickets. I mean, I know it's a nice car, so in that sense, the tickets are worth it. But like, will they buy the tickets from us? We don't know.
Yeah. I mean, if they see the car and if they take our word for it on this podcast and everything we went through and how nice some of these things are, dude.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't
you? Yeah. So that's kind of our plan, right? This would be our first giveaway car. And, if it works out, then maybe that's something we continue to do, in the sense of finding a right-hand drive car that is a good deal that we can pass on to our listeners.
Right. Put our little touches on it.
Yeah, exactly.
And move it on.
Right. Yeah. And that's fun, right? Because we're getting to like, so it's cool because like when you have a garage and you have a customer's car, right? There's time constraints, there's money constraints, there's like all of these different little things that you really got to toe the line for.
Yeah. On top of the pressure of having to do that for the customer.
Yeah. And make sure it's perfect.
Yeah.
So with the raffle cars, the timeline's ours, right? The budget and what goes on the car is our choice. There isn't a customer that has this list. So maybe this is something fun for us to where, it's no pressure. We get to kind of use some of our creativity and everything and then see somebody else enjoy it.
Right.
And of course make the money back, right? Because it's like fine for us to, spend the money and get the car and everything, but nobody wants to lose money to do a raffle.
Right.
Like that just doesn't make sense. But, so yeah, this is something that we're definitely excited about. And we will, if you're not following Blunt Garage on Instagram, make sure you're following Blunt Garage, BluntGarage.
Yep.
And, we'll be keeping updates there. We'll be keeping updates on our Instagram at RHDGUIS. And we'll just kind of see how it goes. We've got it. It's been a month. We've got it completely apart. We've got, engine parts at powder coat. We got, body parts at paint. Like everything's moving along now.
Yeah.
Like pretty quick. We're about to paint the calipers and get those back on there. And we're waiting for Trust Kaikaku to drop a package with the rest of the suspension parts.
Oh yeah.
And we're gonna be good. So yeah, just, this was kind of just our episode introducing this car and letting everybody know where we're going with it and kind of where it came from. So stay tuned. Let us know in the DM or in the comments what you think about this idea.
Right.
Let us know if you think you'd buy a ticket. That just helps us keep it moving.
Yeah.
And, kind of gauge what we're going to be.
Motivate us a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. But so for episode 29 of the Right Hand Drive, guys, I'm Bobby. This is Aaron.
See ya.
Peace.